On today's episode of The Young and the Restless, Danny and Gina have returned to Genoa City. Amanda has discovered that Abby and Devon are an item, and Jeremy has implemented the next stage of his plan. Jack pulls Diane away from Phyllis in the GCAC suite as Phyllis cries out, "She was trying to kill me." She gives Diane the evil eye, tells her to keep her distance, and scuffles out of the room as she coughs. Summer oftentimes imitates her mom. Chelsea, upset with herself for forcing Billy to leave the gala, beats herself up on the terrace of Crimson Lights. He assures her that he's fine ditching the tux. She begs him to return, but he insists that here is just the place he needs to be. When dancing with Daniel in a jazz club, Lily learns that he is relieved that things between her and Devon are improving. She appreciates his unwavering encouragement so much. Lily is feeling optimistic now. Daniel and she embrace, smiling at one another. Phyllis also informs Summer that Diane plotted her murder. Summer wonders why she is behaving so strangely tonight. The next thing she knows, she's locked in a hotel room with Diane, after telling her how proud she is of her. Phyllis sobs because she's exhausted and has lost everything she owned. Summer is still curious as to why her mom went to the suite with Diane. According to Phyllis, she was hoping to make amends with her. It hurts her feelings that Summer is eyeing her suspiciously. Summer wants to know, what happened? Phyllis claims that Diane is responsible for the current abuse of power. When Phyllis starts raving about how much Diane despises her for being able to see her for who she truly is, Summer interrupts her with a firm stop. Summer is complaining that she is being told the same narrative over and over again. Even though she wants to, she just can't believe her mother. "You will never," Phyllis says in response. "You won't believe it," and she starts to leave, but Summer stops her. A firm no from Phyllis. "You don't come near me at all." "Okay." Diane informs Jack and Kyle that Phyllis lied and told her Kyle was sick so she would come up to the suite, where she was attacked. Jack is against making the engagement public tonight. Diane shrieks, "No," as she refuses to give this to Phyllis. She tells him she needs a moment to get ready before they make their public declaration of love downstairs. Audra tries to order a drink at the bar, but no one takes her order. She hears a ringing phone on the bar and answers it. Abby, meanwhile, inquires of Devon whether he is reconsidering his decision to end the legal action. He's not. He's just been completely swept away by the evening. He may soon be leaving. He'll be taking Abby with him. Amanda sees them together as she descends the stairs and glares at them. Amanda listens intently to Abby and Devon's conversation before turning and heading back upstairs. The couple kisses. Jack, speaking to Kyle elsewhere, expresses uncertainty and concern that events are progressing too rapidly. If Phyllis had used Kyle as a ploy to get her alone, Kyle knows his mother would be outraged. Jack agrees and nods. Kyle says that Phyllis surprised her and attacked her. Once more, Jack agrees and says, "Okay." Nick notices Sally looking anxious and walks over to see if she's okay beside the dance floor. Adam keeps vigil. Sharon observes the direction of his gaze and informs him that he must become accustomed to it. She jokingly points out that he's got champagne and a hot date. Adam appreciates her being such a nice buddy and coming along with him. He now realizes how much of a jerk he has been throughout his life. "I don't know why you continue to put up with me." "Why?" Diane catches up with Jack and Kyle on the stairs and agrees that they need to get the train back on the tracks. As for what happened upstairs, she has expressed regret and is prepared to move on. She sees through their pretenses. "What brought up this meeting?" Kyle inquires. Diane fills him in on what Phyllis said and how she had texted to check on him but gotten no response. Kyle regretfully recalls losing his phone. Audra approaches Ashley and Tucker to inquire about the owner of a lost phone. Ashley is intrigued by the prospect of meeting Kyle, who she has identified as Tucker's conspirator. Audra takes it and promises to return it to him because she has been seeking for an opportunity to finally meet him. Ashley explains to Tucker that she doesn't trust Audra and that she has no idea why. Danny and his sister Gina have just walked in the door. Lauren, Michael, and Tracy warmly welcome her, and Gina insists that the next get-together will take place at her restaurant in the West. Danny makes a joke about reuniting the old band, and everyone has a good time. Lena Love approaches, eager to learn more about the upcoming reunion concert. Danny remains silent as Michael accuses her of eavesdropping. To shift gears, Gina inquires about her nephew Daniel and Lily Winters. Everyone looks over at Lily and Daniel on the dance floor as someone says, "I can see the sparks from here." Lily reassures Daniel that he always has her back while they dance. He shrugs and says, "You always have mine," and they express their gratitude for being able to support one another. Lily is taken aback when Daniel compliments her energy and then says he can't imagine himself in a world where she isn't present. Danny approaches his son and gives him a big hug. He approaches Lily with a request to temporarily borrow Daniel. Sharon tells Adam across the room that she can tolerate him much more easily now that there are no hard feelings between them. She's been there, and she remembers that he and Chelsea had their share of co-parenting challenges, but that he conquered them. Adam maintains that this does not foretell a similar outcome with Sally. Sharon has no doubt that they'll look out for the kid. Adam thinks she's correct, but he's not optimistic about Sally's future. Sally complains to Nick that she can't eat or drink because of the attention she's receiving due to her pregnancy. Nick recommends they leave and go get some cheeseburgers. Sally finds this attractive, but assures him that she can hold out for a while longer. After finding Kyle's phone on the bar and verifying its ownership with his aunt, Audra approaches Kyle, Jack, and Diane. As Kyle hears her name, he gives her a friendly grin. When Summer approaches, she inquires, "What is happening on here?" He greets her by saying, "Nice to meet you," and Audra purrs back, "Likewise." "This is Audra," Kyle says. Summer explains, "She's the woman that emotionally devastated my brother, and she found my phone." Audra argues that the circumstance with Noah was more nuanced than that. A teary-eyed Summer says, "Thank you for the phone," and Audra leaves. Jack tells Diane he's sorry he ever had any doubts about her because Phyllis ambushed her. If she'll forgive him, he wants to break the news that they're engaged. Diane gives him a kiss. Jack yells for everyone's attention and tells him to meet in the lounge. He has some exciting news to offer. Jack pats his pockets and exclaims, "I can't locate the ring," as the visitors enter the other room. Phyllis and Diane get into a fight, and Jeremy congratulates her in the suite. She wants to know if he fulfilled his part of the agreement. Stark reflects that he picked up a lot of street smarts during his formative years in Cleveland. An engagement ring is in his hand. They ogle the ring and comment, "Pickpocketing is merely the tip of the iceberg." "Is she all right?" he inquires. Phyllis claims that she is. Jeremy says solemnly, "This is the toughest part. Will you please answer yes or no?" "I'm ready," Phyllis nods. "It's too late to go back now." While Diane and Jack are downstairs worrying about the ring, Tracy and Gina come up the stairs. Jack gives her a hug, and Diane tells Gina that Jack is no longer available. Gina suggests they'll soon return to Gina's place to wrap up business that began there many years ago. After hearing Tracy speak about how far they've come, and Gina proclaim, "Love prevails," Jack thinks that the ring isn't necessary after all. Diane and Jack kiss on the lips before entering the lounge, where Jack says, "What we have is what matters." Chelsea tells Billy at Crimson Lights that she is still attempting to understand her emotions and instincts. Billy could tell that she was having a hard time. Chelsea felt heat rising from her cheeks and tension in her shoulders. The instinct to fight or flee kicked in. Bill understands. She may rest easier knowing that they understand that this is her thing. He assures her that she has a escape from the gala free card. Billy reassures her that she is under no obligation to do anything, and that if she is having trouble, they can work it out together. They agree that they aren't the same individuals they were back in high school, and Billy says he's relieved to meet the adults they've become. As Danny gets a puzzled expression at the gala, Daniel claims he has seen it before and understands exactly what's going on. Danny is sympathetic to his plight, but warns him against turning to a consistent source for solace, because the costs will not be worth the benefits. To which Danny responds, "This is different," and encourages Daniel to focus on himself for a change. He'll have something solid to build on with Lily if they're truly meant to be together. Daniel values his father's opinion, but he will ultimately decide his own fate. It's time for Danny to butt out. When the topic of Phyllis's domineering personality arises, Jenna says, "Now that's an understatement," and Daniel hugs her. Danny tells his son that he must accept his mother just as she is if he is ever going to be accepted for who he is. Not tonight, but Daniel will eventually find it out. After a pause, Gina says, "What about me?" As an introduction to Daniel, in Lucy, Daniel shows her pictures from his phone. When Devon and Abby are about to leave, Amanda stops them on the red carpet and confronts them. Victor asks Nikki in a grumpy voice, "What the hell is all this about?" "Who knows?" Nikki snorts. Jack starts off by thanking the organizers and then launches into a speech about how delighted he is that the next generation of Abbotts will be raised in the location they call home. He makes oblique references to their shared struggles, but ultimately concludes that they have more in common than not. He claims the people of Genoa City are accepting of change because they have seen it in themselves and others. He always looks for the best in the woman who sits next to him. From my own experience, I can say that joy isn't always easy to come by. That's what he and Diane did. They grabbed it and didn't let go when they found it. Tonight is the night they decided to tell everyone the fantastic news. I'm head over heels for Diane Jenkins. I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. The crowd cheers. Jack and Diane embrace. Nikki looks horrified at Victor. Ashley stares in disbelief. Chelsea informs Billy she's going to the upstairs at Crimson Lights. Billy tells her she's beautiful and wishes her a good night. To seal the deal, Chelsea leans in for a kiss. The celebration at the event has resumed in full force. Sally can't believe how confident people can be in love, she tells Nick. Adam and she share a knowing look before he lifts his glass. Overhearing Victor and Nikki complaining about how they spent months planning the party, but Jack and Diane stole the show, Jack's mistakes become the focus of their conversation. All of this is hilarious to Victor. Nikki responds deadpan, haha, as Ashley says she wants to leave, and Tucker turns to follow her. But they both pause when they hear screams and realize it's Phyllis. Woo, yes. A toast to the one we adore. She waves her arms and declares, "It's me," to stunned silence. Hi, when no one else joins in, Phyllis gets everyone's attention by clapping loudly and slowly and declaring, "Let's hear it for the future Mr. and Mrs. Jack Abbott." Michael leads the applause, and the others join in. Seeing Jack and Diane, Phyllis can only gaze.